awoke in my own bed. If it be that I had not dreamt, the Count must have carried me here. I tried to satisfy myself on the subject, but could not arrive at any unquestionable result. To be sure, there were certain small evidences, such as that my clothes were folded and laid by in a manner which was not my habit. My watch was still unwound, and I am rigorously accustomed to wind it the last thing before going to bed, and many such details. But these things are no proof, for they may have been evidences that my mind was not as usual, and from some cause or another I had certainly been much upset. I must watch for proof. Of one thing I am glad. If it was that the Count carried me here and undressed me, he must have been hurried in his task, for my pockets are intact. I am sure this diary would have been a mystery to him which he would not have brooked. He would have taken or destroyed it. As I look round this room, although it has been to me so full of fear, it is now a sort of sanctuary, for nothing can be more dreadful than those awful women who are waiting to suck my blood. 18 May. I've been down to look at that room again in daylight, for I must know the truth. When I got to the doorway at the top of the stairs, I found it closed. It had been so forcibly driven against the jamb that part of the woodwork was splintered. I could see that the bolt of the lock had not been shot, but the door is fastened from the inside. I fear it was no dream, and must act on this surmise. 19 May. I am surely in the toils. Last night the Count asked me in the suavest tones to write 3 letters, one saying that my work here was nearly done, and that I should start for home within a few days, another that I was starting on the next morning from the time of the letter, and the third that I had left the castle and arrived at Bistritz. I would fain have rebelled, but felt that in the present state of things it would be madness to quarrel openly with the Count whilst I am so absolutely in his power, and to refuse would be to excite his suspicion and to arouse his anger. He knows that I know too much, and that I must not live, lest I be dangerous to him. My only chance is to prolong my opportunities. Something may occur which will give me a chance to escape. I saw in his eyes something of that gathering wrath which was manifest when he hurled that fair woman from him. He explained to me that posts were few and uncertain, and that my writing now would ensure ease of mind to my friends. And he assured me with so much impressiveness that he would countermand the latter letters, which would be held over at Bistritz until due time, in case chance would admit of my prolonging my stay, that to oppose him would have been to create new suspicion. I therefore pretended to fall in with his views, and asked him what dates I should put on the letters. He calculated a minute, and then said, the first should be June 12, the second June 19, and the third June 29. I know now the span of my life. God help me. 28 May. There is a chance of escape, or at any rate of being able to send word home. A band of Scani have come to the castle and are encamped in the courtyard. The Scani are gypsies. I have notes of them in my book. They are peculiar to this part of the world, though allied to the ordinary gypsies all the world over. There are thousands of them in Hungary and Transylvania who are almost outside all law. They attach themselves as a rule to some great noble or boyar and call themselves by his name. They are fearless and without religion save superstition, and they talk only their own varieties of the Romany tongue. I shall write some letters home, and shall try to get them to have them posted. I have already spoken to them through my window to begin an acquaintanceship. They took their hats off and made obeisance and many signs, which, however, I could not understand any more than I could their spoken language. I have written the letters. Mina's is in shorthand, and I simply ask Mr. Hawkins to communicate with her. To her, I have explained my situation, but without the horrors which I may only surmise. It would shock and frighten her to death were I to expose my heart to her. Should the letters not carry, then the Count shall not yet know my secret or the extent of my knowledge. I have given the letters. I threw them through the bars of my window with a gold piece, and made what signs I could to have them posted. The man who took them pressed them to his heart and bowed, and then put them in his cap. I could do no more. I stole back to the study and began to read. As the Count did not come in, I have written here. The Count has come. He sat down beside me and said in his smoothest voice, as he opened 2 letters, "The Scaney has given me these, of which, though I must not whence they come, I shall of course take care. See, he must have looked at it. One is from you and to my friend Peter Hawkins. The other," here he caught sight of the strange symbols as he opened the envelope, and the dark look came into his face, and his eyes blazed wickedly. "The other is a vile thing, an outrage upon friendship and hospitality. It is not signed. Well, so it cannot matter to us." And he calmly held letter and envelope in the flame of the lamp till they were consumed. Then he went on. "The letter to Hawkins that I shall of course send on, since it is yours. Your letters are secret to me. Your pardon, my friend, that unknowingly I did break the seal. Will you not cover it again?" He held out the letter to me, and with a courteous bow, handed me a clean envelope. I could only redirect it and hand it to him in silence. When he went out of the room, I could hear the key turn softly. A minute later, I went over and tried it, and the door was locked. Try and get comfortable. Okay. When an hour or 2 after, the Count came quietly into the room, his coming awakened me, for I had gone to sleep on the sofa. He was very courteous and very cheery in his manner. At seeing that I had been sleeping, he said, "So, my friend, you are tired? Get to bed. There is the surest rest. I may not have the pleasure of talk tonight, since there are many labors to me, but you will sleep, I pray." I passed to my room and went to bed, and strange to say, slept without dreaming. Despair has its own calms. 31 May. This morning, when I woke, I thought I would provide myself with some papers and envelopes from my bag and keep them in my pocket, so that I might write in case I should get an opportunity. But again, a surprise. Again, a shock. Every scrap of paper was gone, and with it all my notes, my memoranda relating to railways and travel, my letter of credit, in fact, all that might be useful to me were I once outside the castle. I sat and pondered a while, and then some thought occurred to me, and I made search of my portmanteau and in the wardrobe where I had placed my clothes. The suit in which I had traveled was gone, and also my overcoat and rug. I could find no trace of them anywhere. This looked like some new scheme of villainy. 17 June. This morning, as I was sitting on the edge of my bed, cudgeling my brains, I heard without a crackling of whips and pounding and scraping of horses' feet up the rocky path beyond the courtyard. With joy, I hurried to the window and saw drive into the yard 2 great later wagons, each drawn by 8 sturdy horses, and at the head of each pair a Slovak with his wide hat, great nail-studded belt, dirty sheepskin, and high boots. They had also their long staves in hand. I ran to the door, intending to descend and try and join them through the main hall, as I thought that way might be opened for them. Again a shock. My door was fastened on the outside. Then I ran to the window and cried to them. They looked up at me stupidly and pointed, but just then the hetman of the Scaney came out, and seeing them pointing to my window, said something at which they laughed. Henceforth no effort of mine No piteous cry or agonized entreaty would make them even look at me. They resolutely turned away. The later wagons contained great square boxes with handles of thick rope. These were evidently empty by the ease with which the Slovaks handled them, and by their resonance as they were roughly moved. When they were all unloaded and packed in a great heap in one corner of the yard, the Slovaks were given some money by the scanny, and spitting on it for luck, lazily went each to his horse's head. Shortly afterwards, I heard the crackling of their whips die away in the distance. I have to shift my back. Okay. 24 June, before morning. Last night the Count left me early and locked himself in his own room. As soon as I dared, I ran up the winding stair and looked out of the window which opened south. I thought I would watch for the Count, for there is something going on. The Scani are quartered somewhere in the castle and are doing work of some kind. I know it for now, and then I hear a faraway muffled sound as of mattock and speed, and whatever it is, it must be to the end of some ruthless villainy. I had been at the window somewhat less than half an hour when I saw something coming out of the Count's window. I drew back and watched carefully and saw the whole man emerge. It was a new shock to me to find that he had on the suit of clothes which I had worn whilst traveling here, and slung over his shoulder the terrible bag which I had seen the women take away. There could be no doubt as to his quest, and in my garb too. This, then, in his new scheme of evil, that he will allow others to see me as they think, so that he may both leave evidence that I have been seen in the towns or villages posting my own letters, and that any wickedness which he may do shall by the local people be attributed to me. It makes me rage to think that this can go on, and whilst I am shut up here a veritable prisoner, but without that protection of the law which is even a criminal's right and consolation. I thought I would watch for the Count's return, and for a long time sat doggedly at the window. Then I began to notice that there were some quaint little specks floating in the rays of the moonlight. They were like the tiniest grains of dust, and they whirled round and gathered and clustered in a nebulous sort of way. I watched them with a sense of soothing, and a sort of calm stole over me. I leaned back to the embrasure in a more comfortable position so that I could enjoy more fully the aerial gamboling. Something made me start up, a low piteous howling of dogs somewhere far below in the valley, which was hidden from my sight. Louder it seemed to spring in my ears, and the floating motes of dust to take new shapes to the sound as they danced in the moonlight. I felt myself struggling to awake to some call of my instincts. My very soul was struggling, and my half-remembered sensibilities were striving to answer the call. I was becoming hypnotized. Quicker and quicker danced the dust, and the moonbeams seemed to quiver as they went by me into the mass of gloom beyond. More and more they gathered till they seemed to take dim phantom shapes. And then I started, broad awake and in full possession of my senses, and ran screaming from the place. The phantom shapes which were becoming gradually materialized from the moonbeams were those of the three ghostly women to whom I was doomed. I fled and felt somewhat safer in my own room, where there was no moonlight and where the lamp was burning brightly. When a couple of hours had passed, I heard something stirring in the Count's room, something like a sharp wail quickly suppressed, and then there was silence, deep, awful silence, which chilled me. With a beating heart, I tried the door, but I was locked in my prison and could do nothing. I sat down and simply cried. As I sat, I heard a sound in the courtyard without, the agonized cry of a woman. I rushed to the window and, throwing it up, peered out between the bars. There indeed was a woman with disheveled hair, holding her hands over her heart as one distressed with running. She was leaning against the corner of the gateway. When she saw my face at the window, she threw herself forward and shouted in a voice laden with menace, "Monster, give me my child!" She threw herself on her knees and, raising up her hands, cried the same words in tones which wrung my heart. Then she tore her hair and beat her breast and abandoned herself to all the violences of extravagant emotion. Finally, she threw herself forward, and though I could not see her, I could hear the beating of her naked hands against the door. Somewhere high overhead, probably on the tower, I heard the voice of the Count calling in his harsh, metallic whisper. His call seemed to be answered from far and wide by the howling of wolves. Before many minutes had passed, a pack of them poured like a pent-up dam when liberated through the wide entrance into the courtyard. There was no cry from the woman, and the howling of the wolves was but short. Before long, they streamed away singly, licking their lips. I could not pity her, for I knew now what had become of her child, and she was better dead. What shall I do? What can I do? How can I escape from this dreadful thrall of night and gloom and fear? 25 June, morning. No man knows till he has suffered from the night how sweet and dear to his heart and eye the morning can be. When the sun grew so high this morning that it struck the top of the great gateway opposite my window, the high spot which it touched seemed to me as if the dove from the ark had lighted there. My fear fell from me as if it had been a vaporous garment which dissolved in the warmth. I must take action of some sort whilst the courage of the day is upon me. Last night, one of my most post-dated letters went to post, the first of that fatal series, which is to blot out the very traces of my existence from the earth. Let me not think of it. Action. It has always been at nighttime that I have been molested or threatened, or in some way in danger or in fear. I have not yet seen the Count in the daylight. Can it be that he sleeps when others wake, that he may be awake whilst they sleep? If I could only get into his room, but there is no possible way. The door is always locked, no way for me. Yes, there is a way, if one dares to take it. Where his body has gone, why may not another body go? I have seen him myself crawl from his window. Why should not I imitate him and go in by his window? The chances are desperate, but my need is more desperate still. I shall risk it. At the worst, it can only be death, and a man's death is not a calf's, and the dreaded hereafter may still be open to me. God help me in my task. Goodbye, Mina, if I fail. Goodbye, my faithful friend and second father. Goodbye, all, and last of all, Mina. Same day, later. I have made the effort, and God helping me, have come safely back to this room. I must put down every detail in order. I went, whilst my courage was fresh, straight to the window on the south side, and at once got outside on the narrow ledge of stone which runs round the building on this side. The stones were big and roughly cut, and the mortar had by process of time been washed away between them. I took off my boots and ventured out on the desperate way. I looked down once so as to make sure that a sudden glimpse of the awful death would not overcome me, but after that kept my eyes away from it. I know pretty well the direction and distance of the Count's window, and made for it as well as I could, having regard to the opportunities available. I did not feel dizzy. I suppose I was too excited, and the time seemed ridiculously short, till I found myself standing on the windowsill and trying to raise up the sash. I was filled with agitation. However, when I bent down and slid feet foremost into the window, then I looked around for the Count, but with surprise and gladness made a discovery. The room was empty. It was barely furnished with odd things which seemed to have never been used. The furniture was something the same style as that in the south rooms, and was covered with dust. I looked for the key, but it was not in the lock, and I could not find it anywhere. The only thing I found was a great heap of golds in one corner, golds of all kinds, Roman and British and Austrian and Hungarian and Greek and Turkish money, covered with a film of dust as though it had lain long in the ground. None of it that I noticed was less than 300 years old. There were also chains and ornaments, some jeweled, but all of them old and stained. At one corner of the room was a heavy door. I tried it, for since I could not find the key of the room or the key of the outer door, which was the main object of my search, I must make further examination or all my efforts would be in vain. It was open and led through a stone passage to a circular stairway which went steeply down. I descended, minding carefully where I went, for the stairs were dark, being only lit by loopholes in the heavy masonry. At the bottom there was a dark, tunnel-like passage through which came a deathly, sickly odor, the odor of old earth merely turned on. As I went through the passage, the smell grew closer and heavier. At last, I pulled upon a heavy door which stood ajar, and found myself in an old ruined chapel, which had evidently been used as a graveyard. The roof was broken, and in 2 places were steps leading to vaults, but the ground had recently been dug over, and the earth placed in great wooden boxes, manifestly those which had been brought by the Slovaks. There was nobody about, and I made search for any further outlet, but there was none. Then I went over every inch of the ground, so as not to lose a chance. I went down even into the vaults where the dim light struggled, although to do so was a dread to my very soul. Into 2 of these I went, but saw nothing except fragments of old coffins and piles of dust. In the 3rd, however, I made a discovery. There, in one of the great boxes, of which there were 50 in all, on a pile of newly dug earth, lay the Count. He was either dead or asleep, I could not say which, for his eyes were wide open and stony, but without the glassiness of death, and the cheeks had the warmth of life through all their pallor, and the lips were as red as ever. But there was no sign of movement, no pulse, no breath, no beating of the heart. I bent over him and tried to find any sign of life, but in vain. He could not have been lain there long, for the earthy smell would have passed away in a few hours. By the side of the box was its cover, pierced with holes here and there. I thought he might have the keys on him, but when I went to search I saw the dead eyes, and in them, dead though they were, such a look of hate, though unconscious of me or my presence, that I fled from the place, and leaving the Count's room by the window, crawled again up the castle wall. Regaining my room, I threw myself panting upon the bed and tried to think. Today is the date of my last letter, and the Count has taken steps to prove that it was genuine, for again I saw him leave the castle by the same window and in my clothes. As he went down the wall, lizard fashion, I wished I had a gun or some lethal weapon that I might destroy him, but I fear that no weapon wrought alone by man's hand would have any effect on him. I dared not wait to see him return, for I feared to see those weird sisters. I came back to the library and read there till I fell asleep. I was awakened by the Count, who looked at me as grimly as a man could look as he said, "Tomorrow, my friend, we must part. You return to your beautiful England, I to some work which may have such an end that we may never meet. Your letter home has been dispatched. Tomorrow I shall not be here, but all shall be ready for your journey. In the morning come the Scani, who have some laborers of their own here, and also come some Slovaks. When they have gone, my carriage shall come for you, and shall bear you to the Borgo Pass to meet the diligence from Bukovina to Bistritz. But I am in hopes that I shall see more of you at Castle Dracula." I suspected him and determined to test his sincerity. It seems like a profanation of the word to write it in connection with such a monster, so I asked him point blank, "Why may I not go tonight?" "Because, dear sir, my coachman and horses are away on a mission. But I would walk with pleasure. I want to get away at once." He smiled, such a soft, smooth, diabolical smile that I knew there was some trick behind his smoothness. He said, And your baggage? I do not care about it. I can send for it some other time. The Count stood up and said with a sweet courtesy which made me rub my eyes, it seemed so real. You English have a saying which is close to my heart, for its spirit is that which rules our boyars. Welcome the coming, speed the parting guest. Come with me, my dear young friend. Not an hour shall you wait in my house against your will, though sad am I at your going, and that you so suddenly desire it. Come. With a stately gravity, he with the lamp preceded me down the stairs and along the hall. Suddenly he stopped. Hark! Close at hand came the howling of many wolves. It was almost as if the sound sprang up at the rising of his hand, just as the music of a great orchestra seems to leap under the baton of the conductor. After a pause of a moment, he proceeded in his stately way to the door, drew back the ponderous bolts, unhooked the heavy chains, and began to draw it open. To my intense astonishment, I saw that it was unlocked. Suspiciously, I looked all round but could see no key of any kind. As the door began to open, the howling of the wolves without grew louder and angrier. Their red jaws, their champing teeth, and their blunt clawed feet as they leaped came in through the opening door. I knew then that to struggle at the moment against the Count was useless. With such allies as these at his command, I could do nothing. But still the door continued slowly to open, and only the Count's body stood in the gap. Suddenly it struck me that this might be the moment and means of my doom. I was to be given to the wolves, and at my own instigation. There was a diabolical wickedness in the idea, great enough for the Count, and as a last chance I cried out, "Shut the door! I shall wait till morning," and covered my face with my hands to hide my tears of bitter disappointment. With one sweep of his powerful arm, the Count threw the door shut, and the great bolts clanged and echoed through the hall as they shot back into their place. In silence we returned to the library, and after a minute or two I went to my own room. The last I saw of Count Dracula was his kissing his hand to me, with a red light of triumph in his eyes, and with a smile that Judas in hell might be proud of. When I was in my room and about to lie down, I thought I heard a whispering at my door. I went to it softly and listened. Unless my ears deceived me, I heard the voice of the Count. "Back, back to your own place. Your time is not yet come. Wait, have patience. Tomorrow night is yours." There was a low, sweet ripple of laughter, and in a rage I threw open the door and saw without 3 terrible women licking their lips. As I appeared, they all joined in a horrible laugh and ran away. I came back to my room and threw myself on my knees. It is then, so near the end. Tomorrow, Lord, help me and to those whom I am dear. 30 June morning. These may be the last words I ever write in this diary. I slept till just before the dawn, when I woke, threw myself on my knees, for I determined that if death came, he should find me ready. At last I felt that subtle change in the air, and knew that the morning had come. Then came the welcome cock-crow, and I felt that I was safe. With a glad heart I opened the door and ran down to the hall. I had seen that the door was unlocked, and now escape was before me. With hands that trembled with eagerness, I unhooked the chains and drew back the massive bolts. But the door would not move. Despair seized me. I pulled and pulled at the door and shook it till, massive as it was, it rattled in its casement. I could see the bolt shot. It had been locked after I left the Count. Then a wild desire took me to obtain the key at any risk, and I determined then and there to scale the wall again and gain the Count's room. He might kill me, but death now seemed the happier choice of evils. Without a pause, I rushed up to the east window and scrambled down the wall as before into the Count's room. It was empty, but that was as I expected. I could not see a key anywhere, but the heap of gold remained. I went through the door in the corner and down the winding stair and along the dark passage to the old chapel. I knew now well enough where to find the monster I sought. The great box was in the same place, close against the wall, but the lid was laid on it, not fastened down, but with the nails ready in their places to be hammered home. I knew I must search the body for the key, so I raised the lid and laid it back against the wall, and then I saw something which filled my very soul with horror. There lay the Count, but looking as if his youth had been half renewed, for the white hair and mustache were changed to dark iron gray. The cheeks were fuller, and the white skin seemed ruby red underneath. The mouth was redder than ever, for on the lips were gouts of fresh blood which trickled from the corners of the mouth and ran down over the chin and neck. Even the deep burning eyes seemed set among swollen flesh, for the lids and pouches underneath were bloated. It seemed as if the whole awful creature were simply gorged with blood. He lay like a filthy leech, exhausted with his repletion. I shuddered as I bent over to touch him, and every sense in me revolted at the contact. But I had to search on, or I was lost. The coming night might see my own body a banquet in a similar way to those horrid three. I felt all over the body, but no sign could I find of the key. Then I stopped and looked at the Count. There was a mocking smile on the bloated face which seemed to drive me mad. This was the being I was helping to transfer to London, where perhaps for centuries to come he might, amongst its teeming millions, satiate his lust for blood and create a new and ever-widening circle of semi-demons to batten on the helpless. The very thought drove me mad. A terrible desire came upon me to rid the world of such a monster. There was no lethal weapon at hand, but I seized a shovel which the workmen had been using to fill the cases, and lifting it high, struck with the edge downward at the hateful face. But as I did so, the head turned, and the eyes fell upon me, with all their blaze of basilisk horror. The sight seemed to paralyze me, and the shovel turned in my hand and glanced from the face, merely making a deep gash above the forehead. The shovel fell from my hand across the box, and as I pulled it away, the flange of the blade caught the edge of the lid, which fell over again, and hid the horrid thing from my sight. The last glimpse I had was of the bloated face, blood-stained and fixed with a grin of malice which would have held its own in the nethermost hell. I thought and thought what should be my next move, but my brain seemed on fire, and I waited with a despairing feeling growing over me. As I waited, I heard in the distance a gypsy song sung by merry voices coming closer, and through their song the rolling of heavy wheels and the cracking of whips. The Scani and the Slovaks of whom the Count had spoken were coming. With a last look around and at the box which contained the vile body, I ran from the place and gained the Count's room, determined to rush out at the moment the door should be opened. With strained ears I listened, and heard downstairs the grinding of the key in the great lock, and the falling back of the heavy door. There must have been some other means of entry, or someone had a key for one of the locked doors. Then there came the sound of many feet tramping and dying away in some passage which sent up a clanging echo. I turned to run down again towards the vault, where I might find the new entrance, but at the moment there seemed to come a violent puff of wind, and the door to the winding stair blew to with a shock that set the dust from the lintels flying. When I ran to push it open, I found that it was hopelessly fast. I was again a prisoner, and the net of doom was closing around me more closely. As I write, there is in the passage below a sound of many tramping feet and the crash of weights being set down heavily, doubtless the boxes with their freight of earth. There was a sound of hammering. It is the box being nailed down. Now I can hear the heavy feet tramping again along the hall, and with many other idle feet coming behind them. The door is shut. The chains rattle. There is a grinding of the key in the lock. I can hear the key withdrawn. Then another door opens and shuts. I hear the creaking of lock and bolt. Hark! In the courtyard and down the rocky way, the roll of heavy wheels, the crack of whips, and the chorus of the Scani as they pass into the distance. I am alone in the castle with those awful women. Faugh! Mina is a woman, and there is naught in common. They are devils of the pit. I shall not remain alone with them. I shall try to scale the castle wall further than I have yet attempted. I shall take some of the gold with me, lest I want it later. I may find a way from this dreadful place. And then away for home, away to the quickest and nearest train, away from this cursed spot, from this cursed land where the devil and his children still walk with earthly feet. At least God's mercy is better than that of these monsters, and the precipice is steep and high. At its foot a man may sleep as a man. Goodbye all. Mina. Hello all. Hola mi gente. ¿Cómo está que na? It's me, Miss Ashley. And you. Are most welcome here at my channel. So I've got most of the nails here and just one here. And there is a construction site happening. There's construction happening literally across the street. Literally. And they think they broke it for lunch. So we've got a combo of acrylic and fake. I mean, I feel like blank nails are fake for me because there's no expression. Nails, I'm being a bit more expressive. But anyway, I went to a bigger grocery store the other day and I was carrying too much. And I keep these lightly attached and they don't come off if I'm washing dishes or like writing, obviously, or something like that. In fact, they get in the way when I'm typing, but whatever. But I know that's some of you like the natural nails. Versus the fake ones. So I figured instead of repairing, because I was able to collect most of the ones that fell off, and I have spare in the box. But yeah, ask and I shall deliver. And I was complaining on my live that I hadn't found my hat. I couldn't find my hat. I found it. Or maybe it was a video. I don't remember. But whenever you have a complaint, you know, you're like, gotta solve the problem, right? So I did. And yeah, just fix my pony. So yeah, I couldn't find my hat. And it was in the last place I put it, of course. Look at this spot. It's a spot right there. Oh, and a while back, somebody had said like that they wanted to hear my intro, so I'm gonna say it a couple of times again, just because. Hello all, hola mi gente, ¿cómo está que na? It's me, Miss Ashley, and most welcome here at my channel. And look at that, I just like I made it real dark. And oh, so that's how you do that. Technology, what? I didn't really know anything about technology or like social medias until after I stopped teaching. I'm still trying to catch up. I don't understand. I just don't. I think I'm not as old-fashioned sometimes as like the stories I read. Which reminds me, I do want to record me reading this story. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is a real place. Sleepy Hollow is a real place in New York. For those of you who maybe thought it was just a fictional place, you can find videos online on travel videos and stuff. Try this. This one is stale doll. Yeah, you can learn all about it. Yeah, I just the pile of books. And I also found this guy. It's the Headless Horseman. He's headless. It used to make a sound effect, but like the battery died, I guess. The battery died. So it's a little brighter than I want because it's around lunchtime when I'm recording this, and I guess that's why the construction stopped. Yeah, I'm silly. Things like that. Just I don't know. I'm so simple like that. I need to do a treatment of something. Look how red I am. I need to just treatments for my skin. Not for aesthetic purposes, but for purposes related to lupus. Weird. Sometimes I get weird skin patches. It's fine. Aesthetically, I don't care. It's when they itch that I don't like it. But yeah. So when you have a complaint, just make sure to do something about it. That's the big thing. You know, you have a complaint. You could complain. But remember to solve the problem at the end. That's, I mean, I think that's what happened with Ichabod. He got a little too cocky. The Headless Horseman, I was suspicious. Let me sniff out the stress. No stress. Look how happy our pumpkin guy is. Look how happy he is. Look how happy. Smile on his face. I'm in a goofy mood. Because I've been dealing with that construction. Oh my. So instead of getting mad, I got silly. Look at this. So what it is, I'm very itchy. Excuse me. Oh, yes. Actually, I think you might like this letter. I probably wear this way too much because it's so tingly. It's warm, but since it's knitted, it's still breathable, so it's not too warm. It's comforting without being too warm. But yeah, so this is a glove that I modified to make it into a spoopy hands, because I have these nails that I wore like a while ago. These are from like, I don't know, last year or early this year, but look, they're like little monsters. They're Jelly Rancher monsters, and inside are the fingers are made of marker chops for markers that have no more ink. So let's see how it sounds with no nail. Oh jeez. Yeah, very scratchy, very itchy. But y'all. And that's what you gotta do. You gotta deal. Especially on the days when it seems most tough. It's like thing, right? Thing from the Addams Family. Careful now. When we get copyright from singing a song I don't own, right? This here is like the top of a container to make it the palm. Yeah, I get creative. Anxiety, to be perfectly honest. That's how I handle my anxiety. I just try to be creative and stuff. Just try to let it go. That reminds me, I have not had the chance, the opportunity to scratch on this canvas. Now that we have a combo of no nail and nail, or I guess natural and artificial. There's no scratching here. It's chill. It's chill. I think you can hear a little bit. New that I haven't shown you before. Oh, I know. Because I've been scratching on this a lot lately, so here's some natural nail scratching. And because I'm all out of order, I think you may see this before you see this. which is which? I did this one already. I did this one. I couldn't wait for you. I'm sorry. I just couldn't wait anymore. Because I'm like, wait, but they all look, it's the same color, right? That's pink and that's pink. And that's pink and that's pink and that's pink and that's pink. So what's the difference? We gotta look real close. See, there's some polka dots. And this has no polka dots. And this has no polka dots. So I had to really look closely. You know what I'm saying? I had to like look closely. And then this is a little maze. And you have to follow P-A-T-C-H. This one, they want us to find all the creepy critters. Can we count all the bats? Can we count all the spiders? Can you count all the, what is the other thing? Spiders, bats, oh, and ghosts. My favorite one is this one down here. He's just chilling in the bottom. Can you see them? Can you see the bats, the spiders, and the ghosts? Can you see the bats and the spiders and the ghosts? This one's the next one. I think I did a couple. Oh, to show you. So yeah. So bed carriages, or playpens. The thin film may cling to the nose and mouth and prevent breathing. This bag is not a toy, okay? So it's a craft activity. But the bag is not a toy. So I also have two different kinds of glue in case we need assistance, because I'm not sure what we're going to need to put it together since the instructions are in the back and you just watch me open the back, right? This is it. And there's a little hole, I guess, so you can hang it. Okay, I'm gonna put that on the table because these things are, yeah, they're not all connected. They're not connected. Oh yeah, we're going to a video with all the stuff we make with the mic, so we can hear it. Yeah, especially as we get closer to spoopy time. So this is a separate piece. It's a pumpkin face. And it looks like it's glued. The felt, you know, like it's a felt sticker. This is felt. Felt like one, two eyes, one nose, one mouth. Okay. There's also this green ribbon, which I'm guessing is to tie it up. But I don't know. That's why I don't have my nails yet, because I wanted to do this activity without like messing them up. I did the activity with my nails. Oh my goodness, you can't even see. You can't see. Let me show you. My scrunchie is the Wicked legs. But you still can't see because my hair is illuminated and then like I can't tell. And then here's like the boots. There we go. I can't see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and say you can. And I feel like it's like creepy, like I'm looking at you from below. Is that creepy? Okay. I don't know. Now my hair's a mess. It's such a fun scrunchie. Okay, so let's read the instructions. Let's put my hair together. Back together. Thread. Use picture as a guide on front of packaging. Thread the ribbon through the hole. Oh, and excuse me now, class, but we are not gonna start doing the activity until we read the directions the whole way through. Okay, read the directions once the whole way through. It's a good tip. Thread ribbon through hole on paper base and not a hanging loop. Peel the top layer from the paper base to uncover the sticky side. Oh, so we don't need glue. That's why you read the whole thing first. Then press a ring of pom-poms around the outer edge of the paper base. Fill the center with remaining pom-poms. Peel and stick the green stem behind paper base near ribbon hanger. place the 2 yellow eyepieces to finish the pumpkin. Okay, so this is like the instruction. So let's see if so this is the part with the sticker. This is the part with the sticker. So the first instruction says to thread the ribbon through the hole and not a hanging loop. So you gotta make a little loop. So you could hang it, right? Now I don't know if that's like a specific knot style. I know nothing about knots, so I'm just going to make something simple. Something simple. Okay. Then I'm supposed to peel the top layer to uncover the sticky side, okay? Now I don't know. Now I can't find it. Now I don't know. Is it here? This side? Oh, I was wrongfully assuming it was the other side. This is the side that I thought sounded nicer. Now I don't know why they said to put the loop, because now it's hanging, but whatever. Okay. These are the other pieces, so we're gonna put them to the side. And we don't need our glue, so I'm gonna put that over there. I like to have the space clear with what I'm doing, because then like you're gonna lose a piece, so I try to, clean the space. Alright, so we're gonna put this. They give you the instructions. They tell you to do a circle on the outside first, okay? So I'm going to, can you see? There we go. So I'm putting the pom-poms in a circle. Bloop. 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 They look like cheese puffs. Okay, I don't know how sticky this stuff is to begin with. Personally, it doesn't feel like it's gonna stick that much, so we probably have to push. And maybe I crowded them a little bit too much. I don't know. What do you think? Okay, and then you fill in the middle in a similar circle shape. This feels like it's not gonna be enough. I think I put too many on the outside for sure. Okay, I'm gonna push. Oh no, that is plenty. Okay. And it just needs to be squished. It looks like a plate of cheese puffs now. What do you think? Okay. I mean, there's some edges definitely sticking out, so maybe I'm gonna push out a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and rip this part, because it's like hanging off for what reason, I don't know. Might as well clean up as we go, right? Okay. Then it says, press a ring of pom-poms around the outer edge, fill the center with remaining pom-poms, peel and stick the green stem behind the paper base near the ribbon hanger. Okay, so see this line kind of, right? You can see it, a felt piece, so that you know where to put it. Okay, let's see, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put it right back in the garbage. And so we're going to stick it right there, stick it right there. Oh, that feels like the stickiest out of all of these things so far. Okay. Okay, then we're supposed to put this piece on. So let's give our pumpkin his eyes. Or her, whatever. It doesn't matter, however you want to call it. It's a pumpkin. Don't smack your pom-poms too hard, because they're gonna fall off. They're gonna fall off. I feel like when I was a kid, if I did this in the classroom as a kid, we had a good old Elmer's glue. I think I might have to touch this up with some Elmer's glue. Even though it does feel sticky, like in the corners here, so yeah. But it feels very comforting. Let's get in this nose. And it's so without dropping any pieces this time. There you go. So far, so good. What do you think? What do you think? So far, so good. He's looking a little lopsided, but that's okay. I'm a little lopsided too. There we go. And the last bits are like the inserts in the eyeballs. So we have all the pieces. And into the garbage can. Okay. The thing with arts and crafts is, you know, you have to like clean up after yourself along the way. Otherwise, you make an even bigger mess. Or I do anyway. That's just how I do it. That's just how I do it. You do you. You do you when it comes to how you want to do arts and crafts, of course. Just do an arts and crafts. If I got this as a kid in the CVS, which is like our little drugstore. I mean, it's not little, it's a huge chain in America, but you get the idea. And I remember Woolworths when I was a little kid, and you would get like, you could get, you know, if I was doing this like from scratch, I can kind of put together some details. Like I would need orange paint to dip cotton balls into, and then like have little felt doing this. Anyway, I have this blank frame. Ooh, you can totally see. Oh, that's kind of neat. It's spooky. Is it spooky? I mean, I think I'm spooked when I see my own reflection. Kidding. But apparently the doggy agrees. So, I am going to decorate this frame. It's just I got them in a pack a while ago, and for stuff to hang in my classroom. And I knew, I was like, I have to have an empty one because these gel cling things, they need to stick on some kind of glass surface or plastic surface. In order for them to stick, they need to be on something like this. Or like glass, right? So they probably would stick on the phone too. Oh, yeah. You can't see it. There you go. I'll do after I finish another video, you'll see like I'll put it on the mic, I guess. I don't know. What do you think? Can you hear it good? It's not spooky. That's like a ghost in the glass. It's a ghost in the glass. I think I need to put a backing in the back. Obviously, I have to find a sheet of paper in a color that I like to put in the back, you know. Oh, my t-shirt. Moorish Jumel Mansion in Washington Heights. That's my neighborhood from when I grew up. Washington Heights. It's been 19 years growing up in Washington Heights. And this mansion is located on the east side. It's like 160 something. I don't remember exactly where it is. I just know you take the C train there, and when you come out, there's also a C-Town grocery. Phineas makes fun of that. He's just like, the C-Town is next to the C train. Like, wait, what? Yeah. But it's like, you can look it up on the internet. There's all sorts of old ghost stories about it. And people have done, like, I'm gonna put it on my, oh no, I guess this is better. People have talked about how they've seen ghosts. And the reason it's such like a haunted type place. This mansion, the first owner was Morris, and he got it in like, I think he bought it in like the 1600s, or he built it in like the late 1600s, early 1700s, something like that. I don't remember. You can Google it, or maybe if I remember, I'll put a link to like the museum itself below. And the second owner, Jumel, they had it after the American Revolution. So like this owner owned it before, and then it got taken over by George Washington, and George Washington like did the battle headquarters from there after he took back New York from the British. It's like a historic site. And over the years, because the historic site, people have visited, and there's like one famous story, if it's famous if you know about it, is that a teacher took was there on a field trip, and the kids all were playing in the yard because the person who was gonna give them the tour was running late. And the lady was like, there was a lady in the window being like, shh, my husband's sleeping, right? And the kids were like, oh, okay, so sorry, we'll be more quiet, right? And the teacher was like hella embarrassed, right? So then, like, the kids went into the museum with the teacher and stuff, and they see a painting on the wall of this lady, and it's this lady, Miss Jamel, and they were like, that was the lady that we saw in the window telling us, shh. I don't know. You decide if you think it's spooky or not. Yeah. So that's where this shirt is from. I like the museum whenever I'm like in that part of the city. It's like going home. But look, check out the back. Check out the paranormal investigator. Yeah, anything paranormal. Do you need me to investigate for you? Okay. You know, because bull. You know, I thought it was the same color all the way through, but I can see it's not. It's a little bit like this is red, and this is orange, and this is like a reddish orange, and then this is like, it's like this color, and this color, and then this color, and this color. Like, right? I didn't notice that in the packaging. I think that just makes it even cooler. So let's continue decorating. There's two ghosts. So I'm gonna put one ghost on our frame and the other ghost in another location that we will figure out later. Yeah. And let's see how many spiders there are. There's like something hanging from my glasses, or maybe it's just a weird reflection. I don't know. You guys are getting old. Three spiders, and there's another scully. So I'm just gonna put one spider on here. I'm gonna put him like, what do you think? Like hanging from there, right? Or like, should it be his like on his legs hanging? There, right? Do you like that? Okay. Then let's see what else. Yeah, it's like I'm picking up something right here. What is this? It's a hair. It's a gray hair. That's spooky. I think I want to see the stars for something else. A different part of our like decorating scheme. So I want to use at least one bat and some candy corn. But I'm gonna put the Happy Halloween somewhere else. We have to find a place for that. I'll try to open this one a little wide. Farther away. Spoopy. Everything came off. Everything stayed on this side. Except this not good for me. Step other chilies. Let's see. And then it's gonna go like this. No. Let's try that again. Okay, that's much better. That's much better. Let me just... There. What do you think? That's the candy corn piece right next to the spider. And this also has bats. 1, 2, 3 bats. I think I'm going to put 2 bats. Two bats. Look, it can fly. I think there's a ghost in the house. Or it's just Phineas. So, yeah, I think this frame needs 2 bats. But we're having an overlap issue. So, we need to fix it. Can you see? Okay. I'm just gonna move this scully guy up a little bit. And now I think we have something, right? Is it starting to give Boo vibes? Boo. Is it starting to give Boo vibes? And yes, I put it on the outside. Yeah, I didn't go in and put it on the, I don't know. Yeah, so we need something here. So what should we see? Maybe I will put the star. So let's see. Like that, right? Does that look good? I think it does. I want to put
situations with honor and reputation. He was respected by all who knew him for his integrity and indefatigable attention to public business. He passed his younger days perpetually occupied by the affairs of his country. A variety of circumstances had prevented his marrying early, nor was it until the decline of life that he became a husband and the father of a family. As the circumstances of his marriage illustrate his character, I cannot refrain from relating them. One of his most intimate friends was a merchant who, from a flourishing state, fell through numerous mischances into poverty. This man, whose name was Beaufort, was of a proud and unbending disposition, and could not bear to live in poverty and oblivion in the same country where he had formerly been distinguished for his rank and magnificence. Having paid his debts, therefore, in the most honorable manner, he retreated with his daughter to the sound of Lucerne, where he lived unknown and in wretchedness. My father loved Beaufort with the truest friendship and was deeply grieved by his retreat in these unfortunate circumstances. He bitterly deplored the false pride which led his friend to a conduct so little worthy of the affection that united them. He lost no hope in endeavoring to seek him out with the hope of persuading him to begin the world again through his credit and assistance. Beaufort had taken effectual measures to conceal himself, and it was 10 months before my father discovered his abode. Overjoyed at this discovery, he hastened to the house, which was situated in a mean street near the Rieuse. But when he entered, misery and despair alone welcomed him. Beaufort had saved but a very small sum of money from the wreck of his fortunes, but it was sufficient to provide him with sustenance for some months, and in the meantime he hoped to procure some respectable employment in a merchant's house. The interval was consequently spent in inaction. His grief only became more deep and rankling when he had leisure for reflection, and at length it took so fast hold of his mind that at the end of 3 months he lay on a bed of sickness, incapable of any exertion. His daughter attended him with the greatest tenderness, but she saw with despair that their little fund was rapidly decreasing, and that there was no other prospect of support. But Caroline Beaufort possessed a mind of an uncommon mold, and her courage rose to support her in her adversity. She procured plain work, the plaited straw, and by various means contrived to earn a pittance scarcely sufficient to support life. Several months passed in this manner. Her father grew worse. Her time was more entirely occupied in attending him. Her means of subsistence decreased, and in the 10th month her father died in her arms, leaving her an orphan and a beggar. This last blow overcame her, and she knelt by Beaufort's coffin, weeping bitterly, when my father entered the chamber. He came like a protecting spirit to the poor girl who committed herself to his care, and after the interment of his friend, he conducted her to Geneva and placed her under the protection of a relation. 2 years after this event, Caroline became his wife. There was a considerable difference between the ages of my parents, but this circumstance seemed to unite them only closer in bonds of devoted affection. There was a sense of justice in my father's upright mind which rendered it necessary that he should approve highly to love strongly. Perhaps during former years he had suffered from the late discovered unworthiness of one beloved, and so was disposed to set a greater value on tried worth. There was a show of gratitude and worship in his attachment to my mother, differing wholly from the doting fondness of age, for it was inspired by reverence for her virtues and a desire to be the means of, in some degree, recompensing her for the sorrows she had endured, but which gave inexpressible grace to his behavior to her. Everything was made to yield to her wishes and her convenience. He strove to shelter her as a fair exotic is sheltered by the gardener for every rougher wind, and to surround her with all that could tend to excite pleasurable emotion in her soft and benevolent mind. Her health and even the tranquility of her hitherto constant spirit had been shaken by what she had gone through. During the 2 years that had elapsed previous to their marriage, my father had gradually relinquished all his public functions, and immediately after their union they sought the pleasant climate of Italy and the change of scene and interest attendant on a tour through that land of wonders as a restorative for her weakened frame. From Italy, they visited Germany and France. I, their eldest child, was born at Naples, and as an infant accompanied them in their rambles. I remained for several years their only child. Much as they were attached to each other, they seemed to draw inexhaustible stores of affection from a very mine of love to bestow them upon me. My mother's tender caresses and my father's smile of benevolent pleasure while regarding me are my first recollections. I was their plaything and their idol, and something better, their child, the innocent and helpless creature bestowed on them by heaven, whom to bring up to good, and whose future lot it was in their hands to direct to happiness or misery according as they fulfilled their duties towards me. With this deep consciousness of what they owed towards the being to which they had given life, added to the active spirit of tenderness that animated both, it may be imagined that while during every hour of my infant life I received lessons of patience, of charity, and of self-control, I was so guided by a silken cord that all seemed but one train of enjoyment to me. For a long time I was their only care. My mother had much desired to have a daughter, but I continued their single offspring. When I was about 5 years old, while making an excursion beyond the frontiers of Italy, they passed a week on the shores of the Lake of Como. Their benevolent disposition often made them enter the cottages of the poor. This, to my mother, was more than a duty. It was a necessity, a passion, remembering what she had suffered and how she had been relieved, for her to act in her turn the guardian angel to the afflicted. During one of their walks, a poor cut in the findings of a veil attracted their notice as being singularly disconsolate, while the number of half-clothed children gathered about it spoke of penury in its worst shape. One day, when my father had gone by himself to Milan, my mother, accompanied by me, visited this abode. She found a peasant and his wife, hard-working, bent down by care and labor, distributing a scanty meal to 5 hungry babies. Among these there was one which attracted my mother far above all the rest. She appeared of a different stock. The 4 others were dark-eyed, hardy little vagrants. This child was thin and very fair. Her hair was the brightest living gold, and despite the poverty of her clothing, seemed to set a crown of distinction on her head. Her brow was clear and ample, her blue eyes cloudless, and her lips and the molding of her face so expressive of sensibility and sweetness that none could behold her without looking on her as of a distinct species, of being heaven-sent and bearing a celestial stamp in all her features. The peasant woman, perceiving that my mother fixed eyes of wonder and admiration on this lovely girl, eagerly communicated her history. She was not her child, but the daughter of a Milanese nobleman. Her mother was a German and had died on giving her birth. The infant had been placed with these good people to nurse. They were better off then. They had not been long married, and their eldest child was but just born. The father of their charge was one of those Italians nursed in the memory of the antique glory of Italy, one among the schiavi ognor fermenti, who exerted himself to obtain the liberty of his country. he became the victim of its weakness. Whether he had died or still lingered in the dungeons of Austria was not known. His property was confiscated, his child became an orphan and a beggar. She continued with her foster parents and bloomed in their rude abode, far fairer than a garden rose among dark-leaved brambles. When my father returned from Milan, he found playing with me in the hall of our villa a child fairer than pictured cherub. When my father returned from Milan, he found playing with me in the hall of our villa a child fairer than pictured cherub, a creature who seemed to shed radiance from her looks and whose form and motions were lighter than the chamois of the hills. The apparition was soon explained. With his permission, my mother prevailed on her rustic guardians to yield their charge to her. They were fond of the sweet orphan. Her presence had seemed a blessing to them, but it would be unfair to her to keep her in poverty and want when Providence afforded her such powerful protection. They consulted their village priest, and the result was that Elizabeth Lavenza became the inmate of my parents' house, my more than sister, the beautiful and adored companion of all my occupations and my pleasures. Everyone loved Elizabeth. The passionate and almost reverential attachment with which all regarded her became, while I shared it, my pride and my delight. On the evening previous to her being brought to my home, my mother had said playfully, "I have a pretty present for my Victor. Tomorrow he shall have it." And when on the morrow she presented Elizabeth to me as her promised gift, I, with childish seriousness, interpreted her words literally and looked upon Elizabeth as mine to protect, love, and cherish. All praises bestowed on her I received as made to a possession of my own. We called each other familiarly by the name of cousin. No word, no expression could body forth the kind of relation in which she stood to me, only more than sister, since till death she was to be mine only. Let's skip ahead a little bit. We're going to skip ahead a little bit to something maybe a little more familiar to those who know about Frankenstein. Chapter 17. Again, if you want me to read more, comment down below. The being finished speaking and fixed his looks upon me in the expectation of a reply, but I was bewildered, perplexed, and unable to arrange my ideas sufficiently to understand the full extent of his proposition. He continued, "You must create a female for me for whom I can live in the interchange of those sympathies necessary for my being. This you alone can do, and I demand it of you as a right which you must not refuse to concede." The latter part of his tale had kindled anew in me the anger that had died away while he narrated his peaceful life among the cottagers, and as he said this, I could no longer suppress the rage that burned within me. "I do refuse it," I replied, "and no torture shall ever extort a consent from me. You may render me the most miserable of men, but you shall never make me base in my own eyes. Shall I create another like yourself, whose joint wickedness might desolate the world? Begone! I have answered you. You may torture me, but I will never consent." "You are in the wrong," replied the fiend, "and instead of threatening, I am content to reason with you. I am malicious because I am miserable. Am I not shunned and hated by all mankind? You, my creator, would tear me to pieces in triumph. Remember that, and tell me why I should pity man more than he pities me. You would not call it murder if you could precipitate me into one of those ice rifts and destroy my frame, the work of your own hands. Shall I respect man when he condemns me? Let him live with me in the interchange of kindness, and instead of injury, I would bestow every benefit upon him with tears of gratitude at his acceptance. But that cannot be. The human senses are insurmountable barriers to our union. Yet mine shall not be the submission of abject slavery. I will revenge my injuries. If I cannot inspire love, I will cause fear, and chiefly towards you, my arch enemy, because my Creator, do I swear, inextinguishable hatred. Have a care. I will work at your destruction, not finish until I desolate your heart, so that you shall curse the hour of your birth. A fiendish rage animated him as he said this. His face was wrinkled into contortions too horrible for human eyes to behold. But presently he calmed himself and proceeded. I intended to reason. This passion is detrimental to me, for you do not reflect that you are the cause of its excess. If any being felt emotions of benevolence towards me, I should return them 100 and 100-fold. For that one creature's sake, I would make peace with the whole kind. But I now indulge in dreams of bliss that cannot be realized. What I ask of you is reasonable and moderate. I demand a creature of another sex, but as hideous as myself. The gratification is small, but it is all that I can receive, and it shall content me. It is true we shall be monsters, cut off from all the world, but on that account we shall be more attached to one another. Our lives will not be happy, but they will be harmless and free from the misery I now feel. Oh, my Creator, make me happy. Let me feel gratitude towards you for one benefit. Let me see that I excite the sympathy of none, of some existing thing. Do not deny me my request. I was moved. I shuddered when I thought of the possible consequences of my consent, but I felt that there was some justice in his argument. His tale and the feelings he now expressed proved him to be a creature of fine sensation, and did I not, as his maker, owe him all the portion of happiness that it was in my power to bestow? He saw my chance of feeling and continued, if you consent, neither you nor any other human being shall ever see us again. I will go to the vast wilds of South America. My food is not that of man. I do not destroy the lamb and the kid to glut my appetite. Acorns and berries afford me sufficient nourishment. My companion will be the same nature as myself and will be content with the same fare. We shall make our bed of dried leaves. The sun will shine on us as on man and will ripen our food. The picture I present to you is peaceful and human, and you must feel that you could deny it only in the wantonness of power and cruelty. Pitiless as you have been towards me, I now see compassion in your eyes. Let me seize the favorable moment and persuade you to promise what I so ardently desire. You propose, replied I, to fall from the habitations of man, to dwell in those wilds where the beasts of the fields will be your only companions. How can you, who long for the love and sympathy of man, persevere in this exile? You will return and again seek their kindness, and you will meet with their detestation. Your evil passions will be renewed, and you will then have a companion to aid you in the task of destruction. This may not be. Cease to argue the point, for I cannot consent. How inconsistent are your feelings? But a moment ago you were moved by my representations, and why do you again harden yourself to my complaints? I swear to you, by the earth which I inhabit, and by you that made me, that with the companion you bestow I will quit the neighborhood of man and dwell, as it may chance, in the most savage of places. My evil passions will I have fled, for I shall meet with sympathy. Your life will flow quietly away, and in my dying moments I shall not curse my Maker. His words had a strange effect upon me. I compassionated him and sometimes felt a wish to console him, but when I looked upon him, when I saw the filthy mass that moved and talked, my heart sickened and my feelings were altered to those of horror and hatred. I tried to stifle these sensations. I thought that as I could not sympathize with him, I had no right to withhold from him the small portion of happiness which was yet in my power to bestow. You swear, I said, to be harmless, but have you not already shown a degree of malice that should reasonably make me distrust you? May not even this be a feint that will increase your triumph by affording a wider scope for your revenge? How is this? I must not be trifled with, and I demand an answer. If I have no ties and no affections, hatred and vice must be my portion. The love of another will destroy the cause of my crimes, and I shall become a thing of whose existence everyone will be ignorant. My vices are the children of a forced solitude that I abhor, and my virtues will necessarily arise when I live in communion with an equal. I shall feel the affections of a sensitive being and become linked to the chain of existence and events from which I am now excluded. I paused some time to reflect on all he had related and the various arguments which we had employed. I thought of the promise of virtues which he had displayed on the opening of his existence, and the subsequent blight of all kindly feeling by the loathing and scorn which his protectors had manifested towards him. His power and threats were not omitted in my calculations. A creature who could exist in the ice caves of the glaciers and hide himself from pursuit among the ridges of inaccessible precipices was a being possessing faculties it would be vain to cope with. After a long pause of reflection, I concluded that the justice due both to him and my fellow creatures demanded of me that I should comply with his request. Turning to him, therefore, I said, I consent to your demand on your solemn oath to quit Europe forever and every other place in the neighborhood of man as soon as I shall deliver into your hands a female who will accompany you in your exile. I swear, he cried, by the sun and by the blue sky of heaven and by the fire of love that burns my heart, that if you grant my prayer while they exist, you shall never behold me again. Depart to your home and commence your labors. I shall watch their progress with unutterable anxiety, and fear not that, but when you are ready, I shall appear. Saying this, he suddenly quitted me, fearful perhaps of any change in my sentiments. I saw him descend that mountain with greater speed than the flight of an eagle, and quickly lost among the undulations of the sea and of ice. His tail had occupied the whole day, and the sun was upon the verge of the horizon when he departed. I knew that I ought to hasten my descent towards the valley, as I should soon be encompassed in darkness, but my heart was heavy and my steps slow. The labor of winding among the little paths of the mountain and fixing my feet firmly as I advanced perplexed me, occupied as I was by the emotions which the occurrences of the day had produced. Night was far advanced when I came to the halfway resting place and seated myself beside the fountain. The stars shone at intervals as the clouds passed from over them, and the dark pines rose before me, and every here and there a broken tree lay on the ground. It was a scene of wonderful solemnity and stirred strange thoughts within me. I wept bitterly and clasped my hands in agony. I exclaimed, "Oh! Stars and clouds and winds, ye are all about to mock me. If you really pity me, crush sensation and memory. Let me become as naught, but if not, depart, depart, and leave me in darkness." Those were wild and miserable thoughts, but I cannot describe to you how the eternal twinkling of the stars weighed upon me, and how I listened to every blast of wind as if it were a dull, ugly siroc on its way to consume me. Morning dawned, and before I arrived at the village of Chamonix, I took no rest, but returned immediately to Geneva. Even in my own heart, I could give no expression to my sensations. They weighed on me with a mountain's weight, and their excess destroyed my agony beneath them. Thus I returned home, and entering the house, presented myself to the family. My haggard and wild appearance awoke intense alarm, but I answered no question. Scarcely did I speak. I felt as if I were placed under a ban, as if I had no right to claim their sympathies, as if nevermore might I enjoy companionship with them. Yet even thus I loved them to adoration, and to save them I resolved to dedicate myself to my most abhorred task. The prospect of such an occupation made every other circumstance of existence pass before me like a dream, and that thought only had to me the reality of Jester costume. It's got some ruche here. I think there was at some point a thing to tie it, but I don't know what happened to it. But how fun is this? How fun is this? My dice earrings on today. Yeah, just feeling in that, you know, costumey mode. There's a disaster. Like, I am a court jester, I guess. Go ahead and make fun of me. I'm gonna pull it back. Just clip. Yeah, I think that'll do. So today, I have a candle that I want to unwrap, and I'm going to chit chat about my nails. So I'm actually using this set. You can see this set from this box. So it has this set. There's gold. It's inside the box. There's a whole set. So if you want to see, right? So it comes with one of these and a little thingy to push back the cuticles and a little nail file and instructions. But I use this brand a lot, so I didn't really need to use the instructions, and I still was using the file and other tools from my previous set. It's still here. I leave them in the boxes in case I run out. I usually use this stuff. Yeah, it keeps it on strong enough, but like if I'm washing dishes, these are longs. If I'm washing dishes, sometimes one will pop off. But I don't want to like do the permanent glue, because like what if I get an interview or something like that where I need to look professional? And there are some jobs that I don't know if they would be totally approved of my Frankenstein situation here. This nail surprised me because it wasn't one of the ones on the outside of the back. So I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. I love it. It's like a Frankenstein or like Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas vibe. But I have options because I also have this badge and this pumpkin as other nails that are in the set. So I feel prepared for the whole season. You see my happy Halloween sign? Happy Halloween. So they do glow in the dark. At the time I'm filming this, I haven't done a live yet, so nobody's seen the nails, but I'm hoping when my live that is a little dark outside that maybe they'll glow. If not, I'll be sure to post a picture at some point. Roll the dice, just roll the
comes from the Latin word, like the root arboreal. Let me check. Arbol. A with an accent. R-B-O-L. Arbol. Uno, dos, tres. Arbol. Arbos. I don't know if it's arboles, because like in English you add an ES to words, and I need to practice. One of my BFFs put me onto Duolingo, and I've been working on that. Just practicing a little bit each day. That's how you get good at anything, right? Okay, let's open this candle. I didn't get it anyplace fancy. Y'all know me by now. If it's not Target or TJ Maxx, Five Below, or my local CVS, you're not gonna see me in any other store that isn't like a supermarket. I'm just simple like that. I don't know. This costume is from the Ren Fair when I went like a very long time ago. I don't think I've been since 2017, maybe. This Colchester outfit is from there. I'm not waiting to throw that in the garbage. I'm throwing it out immediately. Good habits. So, but this string, I think I'm gonna save it for a minute. It seems like it has. If you were here in person, I might have accidentally smacked you, so I'm glad that we're doing this way, you know, so that I don't get too savage. So we'll probably see this candle lit at another time. It definitely feels very smooth. Let's check out the bottom. Haunted House Pillar Candle. 2.7 inches times 6 inches. So that means it's 2.7 this way and this way. So like, how you call this? Horizontal. And then vertical is 6 inches in height. 6 inches in height. And they conveniently put in centimeters also, so I don't have to look it up. It's 6.8 centimeters in like width and 15.2 centimeters in height. I don't think it glows in the dark. I mean, obviously, it's a candle. It glows in the dark. But I mean, like, if there's anything with this house, let's see how many. That's the door, right? We'll assume that's the door. So the big windows, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's smaller windows. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Y 1, 2, 3. Let's see how many broken ones there are. That one looks broken. So one broken one. What's going on over here? That's like, I think that's a little bit of imperfection from the factory, because that looks funky. But this, like, there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, towers does it have? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. 5 towers. 5 towers. Would you live in a haunted house like this? I would. I have stayed at like a couple of places that were supposedly haunted in historical sites. 2 of them. One, I don't think it was haunted, but the ladies that I was staying with, a girls' trip, and the ladies I was staying in, a couple of them thought it might be haunted. But I slept in the attic room because I'm just not susceptible to that stuff. But I might, full admission, I am the person that will be like, did you hear that? So just naughty. So don't go to a haunted house with me unless you want to be scared. Cause yeah, I'm that person. I remember I did a haunted house in Manhattan like 15 years ago. Like I think I was still in my 20s. Yes, because my best friend who I went with didn't have kids yet. Or if they were like a year. And that's like a long time ago. And there was a clown. And I have friends that don't like clowns, that are like, there's some people that have a clown phobia. So I didn't play on that. I didn't. I was nice. But I did tell the clown, because the clown tried to scare me. I was like, oh, you're so cute. Qué lindo. Qué lindo, you're so cute. Cause I'm just a clown myself. My court jester outfit, I'm just a clown myself. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little ramble. I'm unpacking my candle. How did I almost say guitar? I think it's time for another cup of coffee for me, yeah. Cup of coffee for me. So anyway, thanks for watching. And if you haven't, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, get notified. Although I upload videos usually for Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. I try to do something special on Saturdays and live Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live from New York City. See you in the next one. Hello all. Hola mi gente. ¿Cómo está, Kenna? It's me, Miss Ashley, and you are most welcome here at my channel. So today, check out my shirt.
on these two first, because they don't have nails, and see how that sounds. Let's see, then this one, and this one. It's an interesting tapping quality, I think. Okay. Sorry about that, sorry about that, sorry about that. Momentary interruption, momentary interruption. Where was I? The last. Oh, the green ones, the green ones, the green ones look the most like Frankenstein, I think. So what do you think? Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite color? This one's black and orange, orange and green, pink and black, and purple and green, purple and green. And I don't have anything on my thumbs at the moment. Third time's a charm, right? That was frigid. It's kind of awkward. I'm going to move that to my index fingers. Okay. And I feel like the pink on the pinkies, right? So, oh wait. Yeah, I do want them to match. So that all the fingers are matching. So, see, these are more my style, I guess, because there's nails on them. And I think they're a good length. Do they sound better? I think they sound better. It's a different texture. One of these days, I'm gonna have a camera that attaches to the mic so give some tips for how to keep zen in the city noise, because the city noise is sometimes out of control. It's out of control. What, right? So thanks to the person who commented about asking for tips on how to stay zen in the city with all of the noise and stuff like that. I'll be using some Halloween squishies to help demonstrate. To wrote down some notes in my notebook. Yeah, look how cute this is. It has lines, and then on the first side, it has squares. Because when I got this pack, I didn't realize that the other side had squares. It's the little things that make me happy, truly. And also we have my Zen skeleton friend, a skeleton. This is a skeleton. Yeah. So sit back and relax and listen to some tips. I don't get these tips out of nowhere. If you're new to my channel, I was a special education teacher for 13 years, and I myself struggle with ADHD. And depending on which doctor you speak to, I may or may not be on the high end of the spectrum. I don't know. But regardless of, like, me tap on my Zen skeleton, regardless of whether people get diagnoses or not, sometimes general tips on how to stay calm in a stressful environment work for everybody. And so those are the kind of tips that I use myself, and that when asked, I will share. Sweet. So, look at his back. Are you stressed out in your back? It's like a massage. His tailbone. So, tips of each from my nose. I almost knocked it down right over here because my elbows. Go. So, tips to handle the noisy city. Being me, I myself can be quite noisy, so I accept that I too am part of the noise that makes the city what it is. So, accepting that you live in an environment where there's always going to be noise that is not caused by yourself. It's just accepting that there are other human beings around you. So, it's just like when I hear something that startles me, I remember it's just another human being doing whatever it is that they need to do. So when I hear a door close, it might make me startle, and I'm like, oh, that's just somebody closing a door. It's okay. So I understand how sharp noises can be startling in the moment, and even though I've lived in the city my whole life, one of the boroughs or another, I accept that there's nothing I can personally do about the noise that other people make. And I also understand that, for instance, one thing that makes me jump is the fire door. We have an elevator in this building, but there are 2 fire stairwells, and in order for the safety of everybody, the door needs to be slammed shut.
shut. It's like you have to take very and mindful to like hold the door a certain way and twist the knob and then push against it to make sure it's locked. Or because we're all busy and we have stuff to do, we're just gonna open the door and just pull it closed, and that results in a loud slap. So, but I accept it. So that's what I mean by the acceptance of sound. The other thing to remember is that sometimes we hear harsh sounds in the city, like sirens and so on, and they can be startling sounds. During the pandemic and during 9/11, I was already an adult when that happened. I was in the city, not so far downtown, but far enough up that I was stuck. I could not go anywhere, and I watched everything that happened from a distance, and yes, it was traumatizing, of course, but I also understand and understood then survival. We hear sirens because another human needs help with their survival, and so when I hear a siren, even though it may startle me or make me feel nervous, because especially if you're walking in the street, you need to move to the side. If you're driving, you need to move to the side. There's startling noises because it involves somebody else's survival. That's what I try to keep in mind. So whenever I hear a siren, especially during the pandemic, it was constant. It was sirens and pot banging, like people banging their pots. I remember. I know why. It was harsh and loud. And so, stepping on stuff when my train of thought goes bonkers. I should open these. I understand that a siren is because somebody else needs assistance, so I try to keep that in mind when I get irritated by that. Because, like, you need to stay out of the way. That's what I wrote, and it's none of my business. Sometimes curiosity gets us, like, spaced out too. Like, what's happening, you know? And so I try to keep my curiosity to a minimum. There's enough to read in the newspaper. Sorry, how old am I? Watch on the news, see clips on YouTube. I can't get it. There's enough. And, like, yeah, curiosity is like, I know I like to, if I'm gonna be curious, I'm gonna be curious in something that's my business, if that makes sense. So whenever I get startled by certain sounds outside, I also remind myself that it's not my business. Like, I'm like, you know what though, but it's not my business. And it helps me to focus on what I'm doing, you know. And also, if I'm, again, like I mentioned before, out in the street or driving or whatever, in the subway, stay to the right. In States, I know there's other places where stay to the left, but stay to the position you're supposed to stay in. If you need to slow down or stop, you should be on the right side. Yeah, but especially in New York, please, y'all stay to the right. Respect for community rules, like, that's really what it is, you know. So I understand that my community is gonna be loud. My community is loud. And it's gonna have multiple because it might. Other people may say, yeah, but it's just one of those clicky things, and you have to like keep clicking off the stuff when they're asking you for money. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not at the free options. I'm always getting those buttons pop, whatever. It's fine. I consider it an additional quest. So yeah, so I play a calm video game if fidget toys are not handy, or if that's just not your thing, you know. I always use multiple strategies, sometimes at the same time, whatever I need to do to calm myself. Another game that I play, it's an app on the phone, it's called Finch, and it's like this little bird gets to go on adventures. My friend recommended it to me, and it's so fun because it kind of like, especially when you're somebody that works from home, it's like having a work buddy or an accountability buddy. So yeah, I really like that game, and you can just put down all the things that you need to do, and then you feel like you're helping the bird accomplish something too. So yeah, so like a game that distracts you in the moment, but maybe doesn't take up so much time. Because then sometimes you could get too distracted with your soothing of yourself that you then have trouble getting back to what you need to do, which is my next tip. And that Finch app has this, but there's so many different timers that you can use. Maybe a handheld timer, like a kitchen timer, or a timer on your phone, or a timer on a computer, whatever, or setting an old-fashioned alarm clock, like anything like that can help you zone. Throw off my glasses. That can help you like zone out for the little bit of time that you need to focus. So there's a lot of sirens going on outside. I may set a timer so that my head is focused. Like I gave myself a visual cue, seeing the time I have to help me focus and kind of try to zone out the sounds. Looking around. Another tip is to look around at what you need to do. So if I'm sitting in the house all day doing work, I'm running around, I'm like, maybe I'm filming something, maybe I'm typing something, maybe whatever I'm doing. And as I'm doing that, I am eating everything that's in the refrigerator, like all the leftovers. So the sink gets piled up with like storage containers, like food storage containers, and I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. So turning on the water, getting all soapy, feeling the heat from the water, and then like the action of scrubbing all the dishes, you know, just making something clean. And that could take like anywhere between 5 or 10 minutes if it's, you know, like I haven't gone to that if I've been keeping up with my dishes, you know. And so you're both replacing the sounds and you're giving yourself a sensory task, because you have to use your hands, a manipulative task, and you're also giving yourself like the heat or the cold. Maybe you like do your dishes in hot water, but then maybe you do certain other dishes in cold, whatever it is. Maybe you wash your hands in cold, whatever it is. But those little changes like that are really helpful. So finding a chore when the noise outside is getting to me is another thing I use. My headphones. I have different headphones for different purposes. I have ones that go in my ear, and I have one for the cell phone and then one for the computer, because the jack at the end is different. My technology is all like, it's my technology that I haven't replaced unless something breaks. So because I try to take good care of myself, I'm behind the times. So I have different headphones, but I also have a wireless headphones that are also noise canceling, so I can wear them and it may appear that I'm listening to something, but I'm actually not. I'm just listening to the silence or the muffled silence. So noise canceling headphones are good, but I happen to
expensive. I know people, I myself have had 3 jobs at the same time for like many decades. Yeah, so I understand that it's just people coming back from work. So I often sleep with earplugs. There's so many different kinds. I have another kind also that I forgot to bring out to film, but I find that it's very helpful. They're not, it's about the same weight as in your phone, like your earplugs, like for your phone or whatever. So it doesn't feel heavy, and they're light enough and they expand naturally. You just like probably have to find a size that works for you. But yeah, so like earplugs, especially helpful when there's construction nearby. And they're discreet enough that if you are by yourself walking around in the city and you want to put them in when you have to pass certain really, really loud situations, it's just a comfort thing. And it's not so big, because sometimes I don't want to wear a big headset because my hairstyle for the day is just, it does not want to wear whatever, you know what I mean. So I wrote down the word beating, and I don't remember why I wrote beating. That's really funny. I think maybe I meant something else. I'll figure it out. But another thing to do, like when I'm home and things are getting too noisy, is I'll put my TV volume up, but I never go above 40. I feel like I would go into the hallway, like I close, like leave the volume, go into the hallway and see how far I can hear it. But when I do that, I can also hear other people's TVs, so I'm like, oh, okay, I know that's an appropriate volume. So sometimes you just kind of have to like get a sense of the sound level of the people around you and then make yours blend in. But I also like when things are really, really stressful and I'm not able to afford to travel at this moment in time, not for a while. It's been a while. But I like watching travel videos, especially the POV ones. Oh my gosh, those are so nice. So nice. I love them because I feel like I'm going somewhere. So I love those. And then sometimes I also like background videos that have outside sounds that I'm not used to here in the city, like a fireplace or a fire, like a campfire, or like birds tweeting that are not pigeons and crows and other city birds, morning ducks and so on, that like different sounds, different types of bird sounds, or maybe tropical birds or something like that. So putting that stuff on helps me. And then if I'm trying to sleep or I really want to zone out or take a nap or something, then of course ASMR, right? And yeah, so basically, just in conclusion, and then it's all for today, I curb my judgment. I don't know why those people were just honking. It's none of my business, right? Because maybe they're in a traffic jam right now, so it's letting people do their jobs and live their lives. It's like I can't do anything about the honking. If I can speak up, like if somebody is in the hallway being really, really loud, I might very politely open the door and say, hi, I'm so sorry, I can hear your conversation. I just so you know that you're very loud. But you have to really know your neighbors or feel comfortable around your neighbors to do that. So, use your judgment because you want to be a safe person yourself. And understand understand what certain sounds are and how they're not your responsibility. It's like understanding when it's your responsibility or not your responsibility. Yeah, so it's just, being polite and stuff. And the last thing that I'm going to say is, if you're inside and all the noises seem so loud and overwhelming, sometimes going outside makes the sound less, because when you're walking down the street, you're